Good evening and welcome to the Select Board meeting of October 27, 2025 at 6 p.m. in Room 3 of Town Hall. Do I have a motion for signing of the warrant, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to sign the warrant, please.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
And that is unanimous. Do I have a motion to approve the regular session minutes of September 29, 2025?
Yes, motion to approve regular session minutes of September 29, 2025.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That's unanimous. Do I have a motion to approve the executive session minutes of September 29, 2025?
Yes, a motion to approve executive session minutes, September 29, 2025.
Motion to approve the executive session minutes of October 9th, 2025. Do you want to make that motion, Bob?
Motion to approve
October 9th, 2025.
October 9th, 2025 executive session.
And I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That's unanimous. Public hearings. The first public hearing is Powerless Inc., DBA The Tradesman RE license hearing. Come on forward, Rob.
Either one, doesn't matter.
Either one.
Either one.
How about them Patriots?
I'll tell you,
So far, so good.
No surprise there.
makes me a fan again.
Hey, it's amazing how Whitted does that.
So I believe you received information from Mr. Valani.
Yes.
Concerning the license. The license has been in your hands now for 4 years, 10 months, and not at a place of business. And that's the concern that's come to our attention. And that's what we want to discuss with you is
Fair enough.
where are we going with that license?
First of all, thank you for letting me keep this on because I couldn't stand my hair. I promise to be much dapper next time I make an appearance. I have tried quite a few things, and it's just the market is a little different after the tea burned down. And I've tried a few things. I've had some things in writing. I've had letters of intent. And I've had things where I've put in deposits down, and nothing has just really has panned out. And another thing is like I said, the market for this, the way I'm a towny dive bar kind of guy. You know, I don't run a restaurant. I don't run a chain or something like that. It's not my thing. That afternoon crowd, which was kind of like a big thing with the tea, just kind of isn't there anymore. It's kind of crapping out a little bit, and kind of. You also have to take into consideration the, when Massachusetts decided to dabble in tyranny, otherwise known as COVID-19, and disrupted everybody's habits. And really did a number of things, and things have not come back like they did. Even people who would drink they just Miller Lite, simple beer drinkers. Well, they all stayed home for 4 months, and then they started drinking 12% craft beers. Well, you don't want to sell people that. You definitely don't want to sell them like 3 or 4 of those. You know, you just want. I would like, in case something comes along, maybe hang on to it for 1 more year. I'd ask for an extension, but that is completely up to you. If you're talking like a towny bar or something, a dive bar or a small, even just something that's more event-based, something happens, next day something happens, clean up, over and over, not necessarily an everyday spot. That license is, not to pat myself on the back, but that license is more valuable in my hands than sitting in the drawer. But if there's a chain coming in, or there's a restaurant coming in, and they're gonna get a bunch of employees, then I don't blame you if you want to say you want to call it a day and make me turn it in. So it's kind of more on you guys than me. At the moment, I have nothing going, but you also never know what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know that, if we went another year, we'd be going well over 5 years.
I know.
That's where the problem arises. The town ran into that with some other licenses several years ago. One that comes to mind is down on Cedar Street.
Yeah.
Then the license was eventually transferred.
They at least had a location, though. I'm just
Correct.
I'm just sitting on
And
nothing.
that's the issue, and I think you're going to run into that issue because, liquor licenses have a quote value,
Yeah.
but legally their only value is what you pay for the license, $2,500 or so.
Yep.
you know, when people sell quote, sell a license, they're not selling the license, they're selling the business and the good faith and reputation of that business. That's what they're really selling.
And the guarantee to get it.
And well, true, but.
Because if it's sitting in your drawer, you can get 3 applications, and who do you give it to?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, that's what, you know, when Joe Bat, but the difference between Joe Bat was his license he could hold forever. And the reason being is the town took his business. You know, so constitutionally, he had an argument that you took my business, you can't take my license as well. And eventually,
Yeah, TGI Fridays got it, right?
yeah, but Joe actually didn't sell the license, so if you recall, he went and opened a business.
He had a little smoke shop. Yeah.
And he served, you know, cocktails after
Joe was a character.
cocktails. Well, he had a grasp of how to properly sell a liquor license business.
He sure did.
You know, I mean, I think that from at least my perspective, I don't have, I mean, we're coming right up on 5 years.
And I appreciate you letting me hang on to this long. I know you did that because of COVID and the fire. So I appreciate that.
I mean, if you said to me, geez, you know, I have some plans, and after the first of the year, you know, I'm going to do something with it,
I'd be lying.
you know, so that's what creates the difficulty. Because as you know, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you faced a horrible tragedy losing your business that day, and everyone recognizes that. It's just kind of how long can we let? And, you know, you're a local guy, you're a good guy, you know, and clearly everyone factors that in, you know, but TGIF, for example, closed. They don't have the license, you know. I understand they turned it in, right?
They're surrendering,
Or they're not renewing.
No.
All right.
No,
So-
renewal starts next week, actually. I'm sorry, next week.
Okay.
They're not going to, that's why they're not on the agenda tonight.
So, I mean, that's my sense of things. If you told me,
No, I wish I did. Every place I looked, it's just kind of, I'm picky. So it's just one thing or the other where I won't make the commitment to do it.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Like I said, it's our responsibility to ensure that the licenses are held to more or less.
Don't worry, I'm not taking it personally, Paul.
But
I get it.
I know, but like to operate in a manner for the public interest, you know?
Right.
And the ABCC even says, you know, in their regulations, they can't be held indefinitely. And would you say, Mr. Chairman, going on 5 years?
yeah,
Close to it.
Because it was February 21, am I right?
Okay,
Yeah, it was right before Valentine's Day, so yeah.
Somewhere around there.
okay.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, so this it'll be 4 years this coming February, right? No, 5 year, right?
and I'd be very comfortable, like I says, if you were telling us that you have some plans and, you know, that are in the process of being at least tried, you know, to make a modified attempt to do it.
You know.
Because like I said, we have to look out for those, like you mentioned yourself, Rob, those who could probably benefit a lot more from it, who don't have one right now, but are in business.
Right.
You know, so that's what we have to look out for, too. And I know in the past you have been trying to do something with it, either yourself or someone else that you could feel as though would benefit from it as well. So like I says, I think that's something that we should consider when we make our decision of how long we could give you. I don't want to take it away from you tonight or or next month, but I think a year is a little long right now. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, if you're going to take it, you might as well, because the renewal's going to come up anyways in a month.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, like I says, it's something that, like, if we could, like we did with the fella on Cedar Street. I think we gave him a few months.
No, and that's what I raised with Rob,
Yeah.
and Rob said, you know, if I told you I was going to be doing something in the next 3 months,
Yeah.
you know,
The question that I would have is, sorry, Paul, I didn't mean
No,
to
that's fine.
interrupt you,
That's fine, Michael.
is, Rick, the license comes due, if everything was in place normally, January 1st.
correct.
Renewal period, then,
So the
yeah.
renewal fee of $2,500 would be due payable on January 1st.
No, yeah, the renewal fee, but you have to file all the paperwork and everything.
You have filed in the past too, right?
Yeah, I still have to like
So then
paperwork
my-
renew it every
You
year.
were kept it alive.
Yeah, I just don't have to do it. It's just,
That would just keep it alive, that's all it would do.
Right, so my next question would be to you, Rob, is hypothetical that, let's just say we grant it till April 30th, for you to come up with some kind of a plan or a use for the license, would you be willing to spend $2,500 with no guarantee? That's something you'd have to ask yourself.
yeah, it's gonna, well, you
And I
know,
would agree with Paul, and we're not gonna, I don't think we have to do anything this evening to give you time, but that's a question you have to answer is,
sure, but I don't, at the same time, like, what's gonna change about in 6 months? Not even, right? Well, right around there. I mean, you know, through the winter, nothing's gonna change, nothing's, you know. It would, the most ideal place in the world would have to open up with the rent, the parking.
correct me again, Rick, if I'm wrong or right, if, let's just say we, as a board, we collectively do that, Rob writes us a check for $2,500 in January, nothing happens by April, we don't return that, we don't refund that money, we just, so.
Well, then we'll just
that's
keep it, I would say, well, we'll just keep, let me keep it for the year then.
And we went through that with COVID.
Right, right.
COVID, we
So
just,
that's
obviously,
a question you have to ask yourself.
Yeah.
you can't.
Like, I mean, you guys can, I'm fine either way.
The only, excuse me, Mr. Chair, the only thing that I would question too is what Rob said. He doesn't think anything's going to happen within the next 6 months. Therefore, I really doubt too if anything will happen with this in the 6 months after that.
I mean, you're probably right. I mean, always, warm weather always usually presents more the possibilities, but
Usually they like to get it going before the warm weather.
yeah, you always technically would want to open like in March.
Right.
That'd be your ideal opening time.
Well, I think probably the best approach is to give you an opportunity to think about it. And if you don't think something's going to be happening, you can make the decision not to apply. If you do apply, then we'll just bring it back before the board. And we'll set a date. That, as Paul and Mike, I believe you said, an April date, and you make a decision, You've effectively paid the $2,500 to preserve for 3-4 months.
It gives you an opportunity in 3 or 4 months to do something else.
The other opportunity is you find something and you come back and you can still go through the process. You ran a business, you did it successfully, you did it in a proper way operationally. So if something comes in, you'd have to go through that process of town meeting because you'd be over the limit of the town.
Correct.
So
We are over the limit.
you can't predict what town meeting will or won't do, but, your reputation, your family's reputation, the manner in which you operated the business, you didn't have any problems.
I didn't see you too much when you had your other job.
The only time you saw me is when you were being helpful and making sure that the outdoor event went, so there wouldn't be any
I know.
incidents.
I missed those. Those were fun.
No, it's very successful, very. And people enjoyed it without a question.
One arrest in 8 years. One arrest in 8 years.
Yeah,
And it was an idiot.
yeah, that's probably a fair summation, but, and you even addressed, critical things like parking, you had it all worked out. And people doing Ubering from a parking lot to,
It was good. For what it was as good as it could be.
so I think that your reputation in doing those things, likely, you'd get my support. But I think you have to give some hot thought that if you don't think something's going to happen, by early spring, and,
Truthfully, I'm doubtful. It's just,
It'd be your decision whether or not you pay the fee.
Right.
for the license.
that's starting to get a little painful too. Just compounded with the rest of the world, not necessarily that fee itself, but.
Right, but just to be clear, if you decide to, extend it, we decide to extend it for you, the understanding, to be clear, is that if you write that check for the 2,500, that's right, that's
And he,
fairness to you.
Oh, sure, yeah, no, I get it.
and Rob, in fairness, was one of the people that was, could the town give different businesses a break on fees during the COVID? And we couldn't do that.
Right.
And no more than we could even adjust taxes or things like
Right.
that. Just couldn't do it legally. So, and that's when all of the businesses were really, really in a tough position. So,
That's why I call it tyranny.
yeah.
If I ever see Charlie Baker, I don't care how big he is, he's getting one. You let him know.
Yeah, oh, no, I won't. I'll have the state police knocking on my door.
Allegedly.
Correct. So, you give some thought, and
Yeah.
if you put the application in, then as long as you appreciate that, we would then put that one sanction on, that.
I would probably tell you, you could probably just call it and just surrender it. Say, so I'm not going to renew it. It's probably just the smartest thing to do. I mean, it's a nice asset to have, and it would be, it's nice to be sitting there and say, hey, I have one of the only
But that's a
licenses
decision
in
that you
Milford.
can make yourself. Come January, if you don't want to renew, you don't renew it.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
I was going to say, if you have anybody in mind, you need to move it, and you need a license,
Sure.
go ahead, On one condition, from the last driveway on Water Street to Thayer Street, you put up a no parking sign. Because that is a brutal blind spot, and I've almost been clipped a million times. And I'm the best driver in the world, so if I've almost been clipped, normally almost got clipped not coming out of there. Bad blind spot.
And the guy that's going to clip you, he thinks he's the best driver.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just ask him.
He's,
So I think it's a fair trade. One liquor license for one no parking sign.
And that's why you called it the tradesman. All right.
I stole that name, that's what it was called. I wasn't
Oh, I
gonna-
know that.
I wasn't going to change it.
Tradesman was there forever.
Oh, yeah, I was never going to change that name. People are like, what do you call it? I'm like, nothing, the tradesman. It's been here for 40 years, I'm not going to touch it.
Absolutely.
thanks.
Rob, thanks for coming in.
Hey, no problem, thanks for letting me wear this. I know, it's probably not the norm.
Anyone else, there's no one else here that wants to speak, this is a public hearing, that's why I have to.
We do
Anyone
have two
on-
people on.
Neither one, no. I think the other gentleman's here for the next item, and then Kristen, yeah.
Oh, can I do one more, if I'm still here and use public speak?
There are no others. Well,
It'll take 2 seconds.
all right, I'll move public speak up, and I'll do it again
Yeah.
towards the end of the meeting.
So I can do it?
You're on.
All right. I have it on good authority that once our favorite bridge is done, that the town will probably be acquiring what used to be Archer Rubber.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure who your good authority is, but I can only speak as one of the select board members who would be involved in something like that. Haven't had any discussions whatsoever with him.
Should that happen then? Paid parking, paid gated parking.
Yeah, that was brought up by us
Was it?
going back several months ago.
Great spot for that.
For a possibility, but nothing else happened, you know what I mean? No, there was no discussion on it. It was just a discussion amongst ourselves.
Okay. See, great minds think alike.
Yeah, and we were thinking about that because we were talking about adjusting the parking situations in several roads in town.
Plus, it's going to be so environmentally screwed up.
Well, I
What else are you
guess-
going to put in there?
It's in the process of being
They
worked out.
tested the wells.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Wow, good for them.
That's why you see those observation well pipes.
Right.
Well, I can't see them because the bridge is still closed.
Anyway, yeah, that's in the process, and like I said, that's something that we thought about, because people were saying, well, where can we park if we can't park on one side of the road or whatever, and we said, well, we can have a common parking spot, down.
Make some money out of it.
Archer Rubber, because it's barren land anyway, and so we thought that if we could pave it over and we in charge, for
absolutely.
the town and whatnot, but that's something to consider, hopefully in the near future if once we get the parking situation adjusted. But let's get this bridge done first.
Yeah. Thank you guys once again for being so amenable with my license in all these years. Because I know you could have yanked it on me 3 years ago.
Very good.
So have a good night, and I'll take a picture of my sign tomorrow after it gets put up.
Thank you, Rob.
All right, have a good night.
Good night. Take care, Rob.
Take care.
The next item on the agenda is the Fairfield Milford Vista LLC ARIA Chapter 148 license.
Might be the attorney, Matthew Robbins via Zoom, I think. Is he on, Andy?
He is on. I'm going to allow him to talk.
Attorney Robbins?
I think he's, isn't that indicating he's still mute there or no?
Attorney Robbins, I think you might be muted on your end, I'm not sure.
Yeah, he's muted on his end. Oh, here he is.
Okay.
Attorney Robbins?
Excuse me, Tom, I have Paul Leo, is he the attorney, or?
I don't know if it's his firm. It's supposed to be Paul, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
You got a Paul DeLeo on.
Yeah, he's on too, right?
I don't know who Matthew
Oh,
is.
Paul,
I can have them both on talk.
are they both for the same issue?
I don't know.
Sure.
Supposed to be Paul, but
Yeah, Paul is this week. having
Paul
the agenda.
DeLeo?
Yeah, Paul?
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, we can.
What,
Thank
no,
you.
it's Matt Robbins.
it's Matthew. Okay.
Is Matthew Robbins with you? No.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Matthew Robbins was with Fairfield Development, who's the contractor for Fairfield Milford Vista LLC.
Okay.
Okay.
But if you'd like, I can present the application.
Please.
Yep.
All right. So again, my name is Paul DeLeo from DeLeo Gas. We're a propane provider out of Worcester, Massachusetts. We are proposing 4 1,000-gallon above-ground propane tanks for temporary heat throughout the winter season for the apartment complex at 300 Deer Street. Typically, this type of license is done through the fire department. Considering the quantity, anything over 2,000 gallons needs to go to a select board meeting and a public hearing for approval. The plans have been sent to Deputy Chief Mike DeTore. He's looked at the plans and has approved the plans. The tanks are following NFPA standard. They will be on a construction site and protected with Jersey barriers to protect them from vehicle traffic in the area. We'll also be pulling a permit with a Milford plumbing inspector, which he will come out and inspect the gas piping that we're doing to the temporary heaters that would be on site. There will be 2 1,000-gallon tanks per heater with a total of 2 heaters, giving us that total amount of 4,000 gallons on site. So tonight we're just looking for your approval to be able to continue the project so they have heat during the winter season.
Thank you, Paul. Any questions, gentlemen?
Just this couple there. Paul Mazzucchelli, a select board member. That 4,000 gallons, to me, 4,000 gallons, not being in the business, but it seems like an awful lot, it's like a large volume. And you did have the fire department come down, because we do have a letter from them saying that it was okay with them. Any sensitive areas in that area? I'm not too familiar with Deer Street. Like any sensitive areas environmentally or close by neighbors or anything like that?
No, the only neighbors is the other apartment complex that was developed by them on kind of the same, at the end of the same street.
Okay.
But there isn't many abutters in that vicinity. In terms of the quantity, it's actually a fairly small quantity considering there's a lot of construction projects that have a lot more heaters and a lot more tanks on site. This is size for the heater size. for it to operate correctly. But in terms of the quantity, it's a somewhat common size for the type of heaters that they'll be using and the space that they're trying to heat.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Michael?
Yeah, no problem.
Good evening, Paul. Mike Walsh, Select Board Member. Question I have for you is, I see that you're going to drop 2,000 gallon, you're going to drop 4,000 gallons, but in two separate locations. So you're going to have 2,000 in one location and 2,000 in a second location. As the construction is, going along and moving forward, is your plan to reduce the storage or leave the storage at the 4,000 gallons of LPG until the project is totally done? Or is I guess what I'm getting at is, let's just say we get into springtime, we get into summertime, is the plan to reduce the storage, get rid of the storage, or leave the storage on site until the project is done?
So it's totally temporary heat. It's not meant for I believe these units are going to be running on electricity once they're complete. So once the heating season is complete, the plan is to remove the tanks off the property. Estimated would probably be around April.
Around April. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you, Paul. I don't have any questions. Do I have a motion, gentlemen?
Motion, Mr. Chair. I have no more questions either, and they were answered to my satisfaction anyway. So I move that the Select Board approve the Chapter 148 fuel storage license for the above-ground storage of 4,000 gallons of LPG at 300 Deer Street, Milford, Mass.
Before we take a vote, is there anyone else that would like to speak to this particular issue, given that this is a public hearing? I see no one here in the audience. Anyone online? No one online?
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Walsh. And that is unanimous. Mike, that's a positive vote. Is that, no, it's Paul, correct? Paul, it's a positive vote.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good night.
You as well.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is scheduled appointments. The Human Resources Director, I believe, is online.
Yeah.
And we have a number of...
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Good evening, Kristen.
Good
We
evening.
have 4
How are you?
policies.
Good, thank you, and yourself.
Good.
Hi, Kristen.
All right, so-
Let's walk through them.
Yeah, I assume you all have the copies that were sent in advance. I also gave Rick some updated copies. I noticed there were no page numbers on one of them, and I wanted to correct that because it was a pretty lengthy policy. There are 4 in front of you. They should be IT acceptable use, harassment prevention, Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, and social media. The first 3 are updates to existing policies. IT dated back to when the school and the town were covered by one department and it needed reworking. The updated policy came from Chris George, went to legal, and then it went to the unions for impact bargaining. We had to remove the school references in that, and there were other updates. The harassment prevention, this is an existing policy also updated to include additional protected classes, and it adds bullying as a category. There is more details to each type of harassment. It's a much lengthier policy now, certainly spells out a lot more. We reviewed this policy 1 year, well, we review this policy every year with all employees. Kate, who is our outside labor attorney, did that this year, and I'm scheduling her for the beginning of next year as well to make sure that the employees get trained on it. The PWFA, the pregnancy workers, it's also a current policy, but it was updated to include the most recent legislation, and that also went to legal and the unions. The last one is social media. This is the new one, so we haven't had that. We very much need it. It's something that is the first question everybody asks. Do you have a social media policy? So it would be great to have one. Well, we started off with the UMass Collins template on this one. Makes it fairly consistent across the Commonwealth. Once everybody finds the language that works, they kind of copycat the whole thing. But we also took that to legal. We brought it before the unions for impact bargaining, so it's cleared its way through everything. I also made sure that Chris George saw this one as well, because there's some crossover between this and the IT acceptable use. If they're approved, or even if some of them are approved, they would all be distributed to the employees for signature of receipt. And then again in March, Kate will absorb these policies and review them with all the employees so everyone's up to date. But if you have questions or comments, I did find a couple of typos when I was doing the one with I think it was the harassment policy. I found a couple of typos that I fixed. I also put those in the updated copy.
Okay. The social media policy, excuse me.
Yes.
I remember seeing this previously, and we discussed the issues of, because it talks about employees and officials. And it was the question of, you take an elected official who's on their own social media site, and they raise an issue related to the town, generally, that's within their responsibilities as an elected official, and whether or not their position is the most accepted position or not. That whether or not this policy would attempt to govern their speech. Is my question.
Well, I read it over today, and I was looking, because I know that we had put before the board social media for committees, which was much narrower. This one is much broader in scope because it covers employees, but I understand that, you know, the officials want to be able to answer to constituents. And so if there's a particular section or language that is not coming across right, let me know what it is, because I want to be specific with legal.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please, Paul. Thank you.
Kristen, this is Paul.
Yes.
You know, like we were mentioned before at one of the meetings that we had when we were talking about this, and like what Chairman O'Loughlin was just mentioning too, when you're a statutory elected official, by statute gives, you know, you the authority that no one else has any, let's say over you. For instance, like what the notes I took, like an elected official with statutory authority, they're really not subordinate to the administrator. So hence, let's say the health department gets a call from the Department of Public Health saying they just found a mosquito pool with Eastern equine encephalitis, the triple E mosquito that can kill you. We need to get out that message on Facebook, on social media, on any way possible, as soon as possible, to these people in that area. We don't want to get bottlenecked into asking the administrator for permission to do that when it's our authority to protect the public's health.
Okay.
Do you have anything else?
I'll have to look at that more closely and see what the language is.
Yeah, you know,
It's a very long policy.
unless we could have another section saying, you know, that anybody that would be under the authority of the administrator, appointed officials from the select board and whatnot, would have one way to do it. Another way to do it would have any official with the statutory authority to do this by election, because our boss is the voters. That's who we have to please, and that's who we have to protect. And, we're not going to say,
Okay.
we're not going to be, saying anything crazy that's going to, interfere with the town, where it's going to make them liable for a lawsuit or something. I mean, we're just going to be throwing out facts. The same thing with the water company. If they, I remember when years ago, we had a high bacteria count. We had to have a boil order. That was on a Sunday. I remember going to Tom's office on a Sunday when he was the police chief. Us, the select board, the school committee, and we had to get word out that night, that people had to boil their water before they drank it, before they brushed their teeth. So these things happen. The same with Scott. I mean, he may need to get out. That school's closed, or a certain road you can't drive down because of a danger. So these things are important. Like, again, to repeat myself for effectiveness, we don't want to be bottlenecked into asking the town administrator to give us permission to do that when it's vitally important.
Okay.
Kristen, if I may, though,
Okay.
the way I'm reading it, and maybe I'm wrong, for official purposes, Section 3 on page 5, the town permits departments to utilize social media sites and social networking sites to further enhance communications with its residents and various stakeholders in support of the department's goals and objectives. So again, I don't think in the situation Paul is listing that he's going to have to go to anybody to
Right.
issue that communication.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's what this policy says. You should be able to do that.
Exactly.
So I'm not
Right.
sure that this is restricting you from doing that.
Okay.
You go out on your own personal site and start expressing opinions one way or the other, that may, again, you're not going to. So I'm not sure, I don't see the policy, I don't read it that way, to such that would prohibit the Board of Health director from going out and saying, we have a triple E issue
On the town site.
on the town
Town
site.
site, yeah.
So I'm not sure that's again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see that being a problem under the policy as it's written. I think they would be able to do that without going to the administrator to get approval.
Rick, if
Yeah, I that's the way I read it. When I, we all look at it with different eyes, and when I read it, it sounded like they were trying to make sure that the greater number of employees understood that they couldn't just post at will and represent themselves as the town. Clearly, when you get higher up in the ranks and you're talking about like yourselves, you can't have those restrictions because you have to answer to people quickly sometimes,
Police chief,
especially
fire
in those
chief.
circumstances that you're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my read on it, but
It's a tough thing, Chris, and it came up again at town meeting, and we deal with it. When we have the school committee, we have the water commissioners, the sewer commissioners, the park commissioners that are also independently elected, and people will come to the select board with a concern, AKA the bridge. And, we have to say to them, unfortunately, you've got to talk to the highway surveyor because, presently at the time, he's an elected official. The same thing with the policy. And I understand it's very hard on you trying to zero in on something that's gonna, have multiple layers of government because you have other elected. So what we're trying to do, and I understand what you're saying, we just want to make sure that people that need to get communication out in a timely manner are able to do it with this policy.
Yeah, Rick and I can go over it and talk to, legal about it and see if we can put better language in it, if that makes you more comfortable with it.
I would say as long as, and to Rick, as long as the people that need to get communication can get it out.
yeah, I read the policy as allowing that.
Okay.
That's just me, I'm not
Okay.
legal, but,
Yeah, no, you are.
Well, you are.
well, yeah. In another lifetime, yeah.
Kind of are.
Yeah, so, Okay, thank you.
But
Thank you
again,
very much.
If you guys looking for more specific language, more determinative language.
You know what, Rick, why don't we, I'm fine the way it is now, Kristen and
Yep.
Rick. The only thing is, that let's say things change throughout the course and whatnot, and we bring it
can always
back for a
amend it.
minor adjustment, fine.
Yeah,
Oh,
Okay?
yeah, these things, I mean, 3 of these are already being updated, so, you know, it happens.
okay.
Okay.
I'm good.
Thank you.
There are still,
Okay.
I still have some concerns, though, about some of the language, and I'll give you a for instance. If we look to page 3, paragraph Roman numeral 2, guidelines for personal use of social media, and you come down to number 2, and it goes to what my colleague Paul Mazzucchelli was speaking about a few moments ago. Employees and officials should be mindful that social media activity that violates any of the town's policy may result in disciplinary action up to and including termination. You can't terminate an elected official. You can't I mean, when you say official, if you're talking about a department head, they're an employee. If you're talking about an elected member of any part of town government, they're not subject to termination. They're not subject to investigation under this policy. You don't have the authority to investigate them. The person you're asking to investigate them
Would be them.
doesn't have the authority to do so. I go from there and I move to the next page, number 8. And I'm just, things that have jumped out at me.
Yeah.
When focusing on topics relating to, these are the things you can't do. When focusing on topics relating to the functioning or operations of town government, in order to avoid the appearance of being an official town social media site, the site must clearly indicate that the participation and carry a disclaimer that we don't have the authority to tie, I don't have the authority to tie the hands of these two gentlemen from speaking about something differently and seeing it differently than I see it. So they can be critical of an operation of town government. They should be, if they do have a criticism. But likewise with other elected officials, do they have the authority to speak adversely? This would suggest that they don't. If you're telling me that employees don't, and that you want them to go through a chain of command in order to resolve issues, I understand that. I've lived on that side of the fence as much as, and I've managed people on that side of the fence to adhere to policies like this, but the appearance of this, the language, if one takes it, plain meaning, is that you would have the authority to say to one of the select board members who may differ with the other two, that, no, you can't go onto Facebook and say those things. You can't go onto X and say those things, or you shouldn't have done that, and you're subject to termination. And even some of the appointed positions, as we found out, the town found out the hard way, without getting back into old situations, but you don't have the authority to remove someone from different boards.
Elected
It doesn't
position.
exist,
Right.
even appointed. So, but I'm just raising some things that I think that we have to be, because otherwise, we put the policy in place, there's an expectation that people will adhere to these policies.
Right.
And we can't put it in place and then turn around later and say, well, you put a policy in place that's ineffectual to certain people or certain positions.
What if we vote to approve the 3 that are okay and
I would,
send this one back?
I think we need more time to review these two. We just got them on Friday.
yeah. But if you'd like to walk through, I'm happy to get a perspective. Do you see where I'm saying on those points?
I do.
Kristen, I just want
I
to,
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for social media, I'll take it back to them and explain what the problem is with them.
mean, a technology use, I have to go back and read it again. I received mine today, so,
Why don't we,
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I say table
what
it.
we do the table for next meeting too.
well, I'm happy to do it the next meeting.
Until we have time to
I don't
review
want
it.
to delay. They've gone through a process in dealing with the unions and acceptance and
Yeah.
the rest of that. I don't want to delay anything, but I don't want to just approve something and,
The harassment policy and the Pregnant Workers Fairness Act policy, I think, is cut and dry.
I'd recommend we review them all and do them all in one next meeting. Bring them all back and approve them all in one shot.
I think we should.
Yeah, as we mentioned before.
Yeah,
And that way they stay together as well.
right, exactly.
Yeah, that way we can do all four at the same time.
Kristen, schedule-wise, I just want to make sure that I'm not impeding on a schedule that you may have developed with the unions or with department heads, et cetera. Is there a timeline that you want to have these with a stamp of approval?
Kate was going to teach to them in March, so, and we started this a year ago, so it doesn't matter.
No, I know, and I don't want to impede you in doing that planning for training purposes. When are we gonna?
We actually are meeting next week.
We are?
Yeah, we're not
Is that
skipping a week.
sufficient for you, gentlemen?
Thanksgiving
Yes, so we-
and working around some things in November.
So
We have
okay,
tax
one week,
Yeah, and we can just have that on one or two on the agenda, not a big agenda, so we can have time to talk.
We have a tax classification hearing, so we're kind of locked into that date anyway, next week.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll bring these back up 1 week and deal with them. In the meantime, any suggestions we'll pass along to Mr. Valani, and that way he can get them to you as quickly as possible during that week, which might be
Okay.
helpful. Might be helpful, Rick, and we can also pass them on to town council.
Yes, yeah, certainly. These questions should go to town council, the issues that you're
Right.
raising, rather.
And then as well as Labor Council, so that
Yes.
Kristen, Labor Council, Town Council have taken, if there are questions, have taken a look at the same questions.
sure.
And come up with whatever their determination is, and that way, in a week, we approve something. We get it done for you
Okay.
to move forward. Is it Monday, next Monday, okay for you?
Anytime is fine.
Okay,
It's
and you
fine.
can come in on Zoom again. No, rather than come all the way here at night, accomplish this. So, Rick, if you could put it on the agenda for next Monday, and if any of us have any questions or particular concerns, we'll pass them to you, Rick, and
Yep,
then
and I can forward
the
it.
three professionals can take a look, and we'll come up with a final product and get it done.
Okay,
Is that
perfect.
okay with you, gentlemen?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Kristen.
Kristen, thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice night, everybody.
You as well.
Good night.
Okay.
The next item on the agenda is the town administrator's report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. 4 items tonight. One, we've received notice from the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security that the Milford Police Department has been awarded a municipal road safety grant in the amount of $41,130.80. These funds will be used to enhance traffic safety and to address roadway issues and hopefully reduce crashes. As we alluded to in the license hearing segment tonight, TGI Fridays has indicated they will be surrendering their all-alcohol common victual license. The communication came from Al DiNapoli. He is the corporate attorney for TGI Fridays. The town is currently over quota, so the license will no longer obviously be available for issuance. 2 good news items. The earmark for the Milford Youth Center, State Rep Brian Murray has indicated the governor has made the decision to release all funding for local priorities or earmarks in the FY26 budget. Representative Murray submitted an earmark of $50,000, which will be expended for upgrades to a pedestrian crossing at the Milford Youth Center and other renovations or improvements. That will be funded under the Executive Office of Health and Human Services. I want to thank Representative Murray for his efforts in securing this funding for the town. That's kind of a project we've been kind of looking at for a while, and now it'll finally come to fruition, we hope. And then I want to thank State Senator Rebecca Roush. She secured a fiscal year 26 Senate budget earmark. That earmark is $25,000, which will be expended for renovations and improvements to the Milford Town Park project. Again, I want to thank her for her efforts in securing this funding for the town. And that's all I have tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions?
Thank you, Rick.
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Old business,
Just one item there. It's
yeah, St. Mary's Assumption.
Yeah, they just want to.
One-day wine, well,
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to change it.
entertainment license, they're changing the date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the entertainment, that event, they want to move to November 15th.
And they're still having the procession on October the 11th.
Correct. Those will still go forward, correct.
Yeah, a motion, Mr. Chair, to accept this change.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That's unanimous. New business, the first item, Campers Inn RV of Milford Inc., RE Class 1 license. They're going to come in at the next meeting. They wanted to
Correct.
pull together some additional.
Okay, yeah.
So that's Monday, this coming Monday, Rick?
This coming Monday, yeah. Again, right now, it's just the tax classification hearing and the policy, so I think we could add this back in, yeah.
The next item is the Town Planner Economic Development Commission resignation. And this is Town Planner.
Yeah, the EDC, I
Rosden.
believe, one of the members is resigning, and that is,
Justin Bronson.
yeah.
Motion, Mr. Chair, to accept the resignation of Justin Bronson from the Economic Development Committee.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
And that is unanimous. And Rick, as we do,
Thank him for his service.
thank him for his service.
Yep.
Next item is the Department of Veterans Services, a permit to obstruct for the Veterans Day Parade. Just a quick motion to allow.
A motion to allow the obstruction as designated in the application and on the notification that we have, Mr. Chair, for November 11th, beginning at 9:30.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous. The next item is the Board of Registrars of Voters, resignation from the board. This is a letter to the town clerk from Sandra Camastra, and that she is resigning from the board effective October 31st, 2025.
A motion to accept Sandra Camastra's resignation from the Board of Registrations effective October 31st, 2025, Mr. Chair.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman, as well.
That's unanimous, and again, Rick, as we do, just to state our appreciation for their service to the community. Invitation to speak. I do not see anyone in the audience. Is there anyone online that would like? Okay. The next item is correspondence. Town Administrator, a letter from the Italian Vets Post number 40 concerning the parking lot and the need for some work on that parking lot. This is a letter from the Post Commander, Eric Rossetti. My understanding, Rick, is when we talk about the parking lot, they're talking about that portion of the parking lot that is owned by the town?
That's my assumption also, yes. So Scott would have to be brought in.
Which would be, Rick, from, sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No, please.
From Mead Street straight down to the walkway, or?
I am not sure, so I don't want to, I believe you're right, but I don't want to speak.
Yeah, I think it's a little wider, but
Yeah.
I think this is a matter that Rick, my suggestion, gentlemen, would be to refer this not only down to
Scott.
town engineer's department too,
Yeah.
to define what is town-owned and what is owned by the post itself or others, because there are some homes there
Correct.
on that street. You never know
Yep.
how much of that street they actually own.
Right.
But if we could just figure out what we own and then ask Scott if he could assess it to give us a sense of what needs to be done, what can be done temporarily if it is necessary, make sure things are safe, because they do talk about the potential for someone
Right.
being injured,
Sure.
which is basically notice to the town. And then of the potential of injuries.
Absolutely.
Then from there, if there's a need for a long-term solution, Scott could best define that
Yeah.
for us.
Yep.
Anything else you gentlemen want to add to that? Or?
Yeah, just-
Thank you.
I was just going to say, yeah, like you just mentioned, Mr. Chairman, if they can go in there and take a look, both town engineer and highway surveyor, develop a repair plan if they need it, to cover the drainage and resurfacing of the top, like that was mentioned in the letter, and maybe a preliminary cost estimate, so we could find out if it is going to cost us any amount of money, how to get funding for that.
Right.
In the conversation that I had with you, Rick, there was some agreement made years ago
There
about
was
it.
an agreement for snow plowing, that was enforced or not enforced over the years, I'm not sure.
Okay, so the chairman's request will get us that kind of information.
Again, Scott would be the better one to address that issue also. Yeah.
Okay, thank
What we
you.
plow, what we don't plow, that kind of issue.
I don't know anything about plowing and.
Yeah. This was before all our times.
Yeah.
In this position.
It was built in 1940. It was built in 1940, the club.
Yeah.
They plow, they did plow all kinds of properties to include church properties until, that was, I know.
Yep.
So, I know that at one point, part of our rental understanding with the Portuguese club was that because we would have to put down salt and sand on certain times of the year, a piece of that lot there is owned by the town. And for allowing us to use the polling place, the sweeper would go down in the spring and just take up
Sweep all the salt.
all the salt and sand. But I think that is ended with a different agreement. So, yeah, I mean, if that's the case, let's find out what the story is, and they may be able to assess any needs on their parking lot. And if it's something that a larger deal gets a better deal, probably difficult where we have to bid everything and pay prevailing wage. So, thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Taking care of that. We do not have an executive session. No. Was there any new business, either you gentlemen, correspondence?
No, Mr. Chairman.
No, Mr.
No
Chairman.
correspondence either. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope that all the kids have a safe and happy Halloween, which is coming right up.
Yeah, it is.
Week.
That's right.
Friday.
The rain is going to clear out that morning, and the sun's going to come out, and then we'll go. A nice
There's some
evening.
wishful thinking.
It's going to happen, so the kids won't be freezing cold. Done that before. So, thank you very much for tuning in. If you have any questions, concerns, please bring them to the attention of the town administrator. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.